Alright, y'all. This is starting the second week of October. Scrapyard, I did a little bit different. I've got my mill, which was originally going to go where the scrap yard is. And I'm still thinking it might actually fit in between here, where that track I cut out is. If it does, I'm going to put the mill there and put the unloading facility on the other track, or the track where the gondolas are currently sitting, and then make the scrapyard track where that's sitting now. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this curvy track I put in. I might have room for another industry if I'm able to do that. But I do know the mill needs two tracks, a loading track for boxcars, which there's room back there in the corner for that, and an unloading for a couple cars, which there's enough room, which I originally made it for. So that's that's going on. As far as that update, I threw my Amtrak Bachmann Spectrum just to see if it worked or not, and it does work. Dug out a couple of my Alton IHC passenger cars to run with it, and yes, it does have the old style couplers on it, which is fine because that engine's probably just going to pull those two cars anyway. I don't need nothing too prototypical for that, and it's rarely going to run. So, but yeah, there's that. I'm going to move the scale house, or that little depot. That's going to be the scale house. I still haven't decided exactly what track or where I'm going to put it yet, but that's that. Now let me tell you something about buildings. It's one of my least favorite things to do on a model railroad, is build buildings, because it's not this building, but the building I'm currently working on is the mill building that goes with this area. And of course the plastic's slightly warped, and I've had to get a little creative on how I've built it. And I'll show you that part in a little bit later on this video, what I'm talking about. I've had to use old plastic and toothpicks, and it's been interesting. It's going to come out square, but it's just things you got to think of when you're building a model railroad. Got to keep things like that in mind. But anyway, I'll take you over to the yard. It's starting to come around. I'm sorry about the light. I had the power shut off in the building right now. Kind of hard to see, but I got some pavement painted on the edge here, because I'm sure I'm going to bump into a lot of stuff, so I don't really need a lot of scenery. So I figured a road going to go right there on the edge. And then I got my tracks finally the way I want them. Got that track cut back a little bit. I found an old signal bridge just for looks to throw in the back. I got to re-glue the roof on my little outbuilding. But yeah, it's starting to come along. I'm really getting excited about it. Got some more ballast down. Almost the whole yard's ballasted, but the turnouts, which they're not really going to get much ballast. But yeah, that's the first part of the update. Stay tuned, I'll show you more about that building. Alright, here's what I've been talking about with my building, my Continental Mill. The walls weren't quite right, so I had to use the spare pieces kind of to hold it up, glue it together, which has now made it pretty straight. So I just got to get a few more of these little pieces in to secure it. I'm going to put some inside walls in too to make the building a little more stiff and sturdy. That's what I'm talking about. I had to add them extra pieces in there. Alright, I got all 4 walls put up. Had to re-glue some windows back in. Even had to get some zip ties to kind of hold it together. You can see there's still a few cracks. I wanted to focus, but a few cracks in there. As you can see in the bottom right corner, there's a big gap. Even with using zip ties, it's just very warped. But what I'm going to do is once I get it on the layout, there'll be scenery and you won't be able to see that wall anyway. So it's always a good way to hide any imperfections. But other than that, it's turned out pretty good. This kit wants you to put the dryer fans on it, but I'm not putting dryer fans on this particular building. I'm going to use that accessory on my actual grain elevator bins. Another item I'm also using on this mill is one of the modernized blowers. I'm going to have it on top instead of using the dryer blowers that came with. I'm going to use that on the roof. I've already got the mounting bracket up here, and I'm using the Details West kit with all the exhaust stacks and HVAC stuff like that. I think they got it on sale for $10 at Walthers right now. Good little handy kit. I'm going to be using probably every roof detail on my buildings, so it comes in pretty handy. I'm using dark granite for my road. Cover up this plywood a little bit just to give it a coat anyway. Alright, here we go. Fill in some of these spots here. Usually I paint it beforehand, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted where, so I just kind of waited to paint everything until now. Yeah, just simple paint brushes. Using black granite. I'm also going to be using some different types of grays, different row colors. But this is just kind of a start. Oops, I left some ballast loose over here. That's alright, I'll give it a little bit of character. That way it doesn't look completely flat. And yes, this plywood has been sanded, so it's making it pretty easy to get in here. There's a few little gaps and stuff, but if you know Illinois roads, they all have big old potholes, so just imagine that. That's what I've got started this week. I'm just going to be focusing on this one section of the layout, making sure I got it all done. I want to get it complete. Alright. That to be good for now.